A mirage shimmers over the scorching sand. The sun is high overhead, unforgiving and relentless. In this endless yellow desert, it seems there's no room for comfort, tenderness, or even familiar human connection. But where the ordinary world ends, the world of the Tuareg begins. Somewhere among the infinite dunes stands a small, unassuming tent. From the outside, it's just a swatch of dense fabric casting a sharp shadow. Inside, there is she, her face weathered by the wind and sun, and he, whose eyes are the only visible part of him from beneath a blue veil. Here, there are no familiar courtship rituals, no wordy vows, and no societal pressure demanding that relationships be made official. Because here, in the heart of the Sahara, they play by a different set of rules, even when it comes to what we would call love. This is the life of the Tuareg, a people whose way of life was forged in the furnace of the Great Desert. For them, nomadic life isn't just about moving from place to place. It's a philosophy where life is harsh, but the will and dignity of the individual are sacred. And to an outside observer, it's a society where the power of choice, especially when it comes to relationships and alliances, belongs to the woman. They are unlike anyone you'd find in the so-called civilized world, and that is what makes them so unique. While cities build complex relationship frameworks burdened with expectations and rules, the Tuareg simply live. In their lives, intimacy doesn't equal marriage. For many of us, physical intimacy is a step that follows dating, courtship, maybe an engagement, and is expected to lead to an official union. For the Tuareg, it's completely different. A woman can, and has the absolute right to, invite a man she is interested into her tent without any prior commitments. This doesn't draw judgment from her family or tribe. It's her decision and a part of her freedom. In a world where every day is a challenge, the Tuareg have learned to value the sincerity of the moment. There's no room for games or pretense. If a mutual interest arises, it can be acted upon directly without needing to hide behind complicated social rules. The veiled man, the unveiled woman. Perhaps the most striking symbol of Tuareg culture is the contrast between the man whose face is constantly hidden by a cloth veil called a tagelmust, and the woman whose face is always uncovered. This isn't just a whim or protection from the wind, it's a physical representation of their social roles. A man covers his face before other men and strangers as a sign of respect, modesty, and paradoxically, strength. He conceals his vulnerability. But the woman does not cover her face. She is open to the world, open to choice, and open to relationships. This visual difference reflects an internal balance. His world is the vast, dangerous desert, a place of tribes where one must be cautious and discreet. Her world is the tent, a space for relationships and community decisions, where clarity and openness are required. She is the one who sees him completely, even when he is hidden from others. She is the one who chooses. Unmarried Tuareg women have a special tradition centered around a small separate tent called an amurima, or simply a guest tent. It's more than a dwelling, it's her personal space, a symbol of her independence and right to choose. In this tent, a woman can invite a man not for marriage or promises, but for conversation, poetry, music, and, if both desire, intimacy.
A man honored with an invitation arrives at night as the camp sleeps and leaves at dawn. This is not a secret affair hidden from disapproving parents. It is a sanctioned tradition rooted in freedom and respect. There is no judgment from the family or tribe. Everyone knows and respects a woman's right to this custom. It's a space where relationships are built on pure choice and genuine desire, not societal pressure. A relationship that begins in the guest tent does not automatically lead to an engagement or marriage. For a Tuareg woman, intimacy is not a mandatory step toward an official union. She may spend time with one man and then another, getting to know people before she decides, if she ever decides, to marry. In a society where virginity is often fetishized and marriage is seen as the ultimate goal, the Tuareg value something else: a woman's wisdom, her ability to choose, her poetic talent, and her strength of spirit. Intimate relationships with different men before marriage are not a loss of honor, but part of a journey of self-discovery. Marriage is viewed as a serious decision requiring maturity and deep mutual respect, not as a prerequisite for a happy or fulfilling life. Even if a woman decides to marry, the union is not a prison. In Tuareg culture, divorce is a right exclusively respected for women. Unlike in most patriarchal societies, including many Muslim cultures where a man can easily initiate divorce while a woman cannot, a Tuareg woman is free to leave a marriage whenever she chooses. Her decision doesn't require her husband's approval or a formal proceeding with elders. Her will is enough. The ritual is simple and dignified. The woman simply gathers her husband's belongings and places them outside their shared tent. This act signals the end of the marriage. The man must accept it and leave. There are no arguments over property, which is minimal in a nomadic lifestyle and often belongs to the woman's family anyway, and no humiliating disputes. There is only respect for the right to end things. This practice shows an incredible wisdom, an acknowledgement that unions can end, and a way to part ways without destroying one another. In a world where everything is in motion, the ability to let go is also a form of strength. In the Tuareg world, words have special power, but not the words of official vows. Here, feelings of passion, tenderness, and sometimes sad goodbyes are expressed through poetry. Men and women in relationships communicate through verses. These lines are an intimate dialogue, a reflection of the subtle feelings that aren't typically discussed out loud. Composing and reciting poetry is a vital part of their culture, especially for women, who often have a high literacy rate. Many learn to read and write in Arabic or their unique Tifinagh script, allowing them to preserve their oral traditions and record their thoughts and feelings in poetic form. To exchange poems is a sign of deep trust and connection that can be just as serious and lasting as any formal commitment. It's their way of saying, "I see you, I am with you." The Tuareg don't say, "I love you." For an outsider, accustomed to the strict moral codes of patriarchal societies, the freedom of Tuareg women in choosing partners might seem baffling. But at its core is a deep, hard-won understanding of honor and dignity. Tuareg honor isn't about controlling others or forcing them to conform. It's about respecting the freedom and dignity of each person. A woman knows whom she chooses and needs no supervision or permission. Her choice is her right and her responsibility. A man invited to her tent is proud of the invitation. It's a sign that she found him worthy of her attention. There is no shame for a woman who chooses or changes partners, just as there is no shame for a man who is chosen or later passed over. Shame would come from breaking one's word, from disrespect, or from forcing someone into something against their will.
In their world, where survival depends on mutual support and trust within the tribe, respecting each individual, even if they follow a path that differs from our ideas of normal, is the foundation of their society. Central to Tuareg life is the tent, or a hell, which is more than a home. It is a symbol intrinsically linked to the woman. The tent is traditionally considered the woman's property. She sets it up,
She furnishes it, and she is the authority within it. Even when men are away on long journeys, it is the women who remain with the tents, maintaining the hearth and home. In this world, where men claim the endless, dangerous desert, women own the safe, structured space of the tent, the center of life, rest, intimacy, and decision-making. The guest tent for unmarried women is an extension of this idea, a personal space where she is the master of her own life and choices. The main family tent is where she runs the household, receives guests, and her opinion carries decisive weight in family matters. It might seem paradoxical. In the harsh, masculine world of the desert, its heart, the tent, is under a woman's control. But this is their wisdom. The most valuable things in life, family, relationships, the continuation of the culture, are entrusted to those who are best at protecting and creating them. Today, the ancient Tuareg way of life faces new challenges. Pressure for more conservative interpretations of Islam, the influence of globalization, and government-enforced settlement all threaten their unique culture, especially the freedom of women. Younger generations sometimes stray from ancient traditions under these external pressures. Despite this, the spirit of their culture endures. The concept of dignity based on respect for choice, a woman's right to autonomy, and the importance of poetry and personal freedom are values that aren't easily erased. They were forged over thousands of years in conditions where only those who could adapt while holding on to their core identity survived. Perhaps the Tuareg of the desert can teach us more than it seems. Their world, where the man is veiled and the woman is open, where intimacy doesn't require marriage and divorce is a woman's right, might seem shocking at first, but it offers profound lessons about freedom, dignity, and trust. Lesson 1. Relationships can be pure and deep, even if they don't fit into familiar formal boxes. Lesson 2. True honor lies not in control, but in respecting the choices of others. Lesson 3. A woman's freedom is not a threat to society, but its strength and wisdom, especially in a world that is constantly changing. While our world often struggles with norms, expectations, and judgment, the Tuareg in the heart of the Sahara live by their ancient laws: respect, choice, poetry, and dignity. They show us that it's possible to build relationships based on the sincerity of the moment and the right of every person to follow their own path. And in a world where everything is fleeting, the most reliable anchor is the inner freedom of someone who chooses their own way, even if that way leads through an endless, unforgiving desert.